Okay. We're back. I said I would come back if there was any sort of news that was relevant to the situation that broke, or when that news broke, we knew there would be relevant news to this situation, and there is. Um, we have heard that his daughter, Gianna, was on the helicopter. Um, we now know that they were on their way to the. It just came out. They were on their way to Gianna's game. Kobe and Gianna were on their way to the game. So we knew that we would have news. We knew we would have breaking news on Kobe and his daughter. There was a potential situation that she could have been a passenger. We didn't know any of the news if surrounding the purpose of the helicopter crash, and now we have that from Woj as they were on their way to. They were traveling to the basketball game with his daughter. Those aboard the helicopter included another player and parent. So this is Woj's tweets from about 10, 15 minutes ago. Sources: Kobe Bryant was on his way to a travel basketball game with his daughter. So it was a basketball game for his daughter, Gianna, when it crashed. We don't know the cause of the crash yet. That is something we're still waiting to hear. If it was a malfunction of the helicopter, if it was a malfunction, if there was an issue with the pilot. We know that it was a foggy morning, and we know that it crashed into the hills above Calabasas. He was with his daughter, and word is the other passenger was another player on the travel team and that parent. We do not have any more information. So I was on earlier. We were breaking down the news. We were talking about what we were hearing as it was coming out. So we're going to continue to do that and just sort of reflect on the situation as you have basketball games being played right now with this situation. You got the Nuggets and you got the Rockets. NBA TV was supposed to have that game. They have broken from that, and they're doing a lot of reaction with Matt Weiner, Brian Shaw, and coach from the Magic. I'm blanking on his name. They did take a. That's interesting. The Raptors and Spurs each took 24-second violations in honor of Kobe Bryant. You're gonna have a lot of tributes. Obviously, you're gonna have a lot of tributes with a lot of players. These guys grew up watching Kobe Bryant, and they now deal with that, cope with that, and have to play basketball games today. We were looking earlier, checking to see if the NBA was going to say or do anything. There's nothing from NBA's account other than a Zion Williamson comment, NBA PR. I don't see anything. So we haven't seen anything from the NBA yet. You got to think that a comment is coming there, but I think they probably want to have their ducks in a row to not just make a comment saying that they are sorry about the passing, because that is obvious. But what they may want to do is have some type of course of action that they're going to be taking, games that they may be rescheduling, any sort of tributes that they're going to be scheduling. I got to think the NBA is probably getting some of that together before they make their comment. But the news that we just got is that his daughter Gianna was on the plane on the helicopter, and that came from Woj. Anything that comes from Woj is pretty solid. That came out about 15 minutes ago, and that the other passengers was another player of Gianna's travel team and the parent. That makes 4. I'm thinking maybe Kobe might have been piloting the helicopter. I haven't heard that. I don't know if anybody else has heard that. Anybody in the chat room making comments? Do we have anything about? Has anybody heard anything about, if Kobe was piloting the helicopter? I haven't seen anything yet. I don't want to speculate on that. That's I think something that's kind of interesting is who was the pilot. There've been different reports on how many people were on the helicopter. We had originally, it said 3, and it said 4 plus Kobe, so 4 and 5. We know 5 people ultimately perished from this crash, and we just don't know if that 5th person might have been the pilot or if it was somebody on the ground when the accident occurred. Again, so what I'm doing here is, I'm sort of pulling together all of the reaction that we're getting from all across the globe. I'm sort of scouring for news from credible sources like TMZ, who broke this. TMZ was also the first to put out the situation with the daughter being on the helicopter. So we're talking about the reaction from around the world, and we're talking about the news that comes out as it's coming out from ESPN, NBC, TMZ, wherever we're getting news. ESPN putting out a video. Fans have already gathered outside Staples Center to remember Kobe. This is going to be something here. Let me see. Again, this is everybody from around the world, from all different crosses of life are weighing in here. And that's, Twitter's not a good place to get your news from. And a lot of times it can be a very bad place. It can be a bad place to respond to things. But ultimately what I have seen on Twitter is that there've been a lot of people coming together for Kobe on Twitter from, again, all different walks of life. Bill Nye tweeting out, Kobe Bryant changed the game. He changed our world. He will be sorely missed. Shams tweeting out, the NBA has sent emails to its employees confirming the tragic deaths of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. The Athletic and Stadium have been told. So Shams tweeting out that the NBA has sent an email confirming the situation to all of the players. The NBA is very busy behind the scenes. They have not come out and said anything. They have not issued any public statements, but I'm sure they are working extremely hard behind the scenes. Jeff Goodman, good comment here. A good reminder. It's not always great to be first. Also seeing some media members got facts wrong in an effort to be first. Why would anyone want to even be first on a story like this? I couldn't agree 100%. Why? I came on here when TMZ first put it out there. And really before TMZ, there was nothing. There was nothing in the air about something like this. We don't know who the pilot is. I see that question in the chat comments. We don't know who the pilot is yet. It might have been Kobe. It might have been a personal pilot. We don't know. So, there was a reporter I can't remember who it was, and I won't throw her name under the bus, but there was a reporter in Arkansas that made a comment or a post that she had sources that confirmed that the family, there were no family members on the helicopter, but that has since proven to be false. We know that his daughter, Gianna, was on there. Carmelo Anthony, just waking up in Australia. Man, this hurts a lot and don't even feel real. sending prayers and love out to everybody right now. And if you're reading this, I miss love you. Life is way too short not to. Rest in peace, Kobe. Yeah, Carmelo. Yeah, there's a lot of big prominent names that grew up idolizing Kobe Bryant. So you're going to get a lot of reaction. You're going to get a lot of reaction like that. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Most people will remember Kobe as the magnificent athlete who inspired a whole generation of basketball players, but I will always remember him as a man who was much more than an athlete. That's the, I don't want to say it's lost in this, but you got a lot of us. You got a lot of fans, and we've got a lot to say. And, our memories of him are through a TV screen or, from up high in the rafters watching him play a game. The people who knew him, his teammates, former Lakers, I'm sure some amazing stories that will come and will help with the grieving process for this. So it's just unreal to even, this is just unreal. I want to see, NBA TV is doing a stand-up job here. And supposedly there is a way for me to share my screen. And if it's possible, I want to try to get the feed from NBA TV here. This may not be possible, but I'm going to give it a shot. YouTube, not everybody gets NBA TV. NBA TV is kind of a premium situation on, cable packages, and so not everybody gets NBA TV, and they're doing a good job with this. Let's see if I can get that.
You get kids.
All right, let me mute it for a minute so we don't double down on the audio, and let's see if we can get the feed from NBA TV up here. Again, supposedly I'm able to share my screen. We're going to try that. Okay. Let's see if we can do this. I'm going to do this. Let me get this banner off. And bear with me for a second. All right, so I'm trying to share my screen. This looks terrible. Let's do that. Okay, that's much better. Now, let me get this up, and I want to make sure you guys can hear it.
Well, I think, I think, just on the floor, there won't be as,
All right, so here's the deal.
To be a next Kobe Bryant on the floor.
I can't see.
That's a tall.
Here's the deal. I think if you're in the chat room watching this, I'm going to give out my Twitter account. Tweet at me and let me know if you can actually see this, because the way this works, the way this is set up, as soon as I switch to, actually, wait, let me open up a new. Hold on, I'm going to open up a new window, because I think if I open up a new window, that should do it. 1 second, hold on. Because here we go. I want to be able to see if this is working for you guys. If it's not, what's the point? All right. Let's go to live. There is NBA TV. Let's get that going.
Like over and over again.
All right, you guys can see that.
Folks
Good.
who played against him, from Brian who played with
All right,
him.
I'm still going to give out my Twitter account. If you are having any trouble with the audio, tweet at me and let me know. If you're having any trouble, let me know.
On basketball throughout his career, didn't necessarily interact with opposing players as much as some of the rest of the league.
Audio.
Did you get a sense of the man much over your time spent near him, around him?
Jim Riley Live.
During
my Twitter
games, you didn't get anything
let me know
conversation-wise.
Tweet at me and just let me know that the audio is good and that the video is good. Let me put it back up.
I know when he was young, we got a chance.
I'm going to put this up. I'm basically going to go away.
He was young in his career. I think maybe his second year.
I just make myself go away because there's no point in me. Okay, perfect.
So we got a chance.
And
to
here you guys go again. Tweet at me. Let me know if this is coming through and you can hear it and you can see it.
When I was retired, you know, we got a chance to just talk, especially when I was involved and still involved with USA basketball. Those are the times we got a chance to spend more time, and it was always the little details and nuances of the game, and also just a part of life. But between the lines, it was not much talking. We had some chatter. I was the guy that liked to talk, that got me going. I couldn't get him to talk back and forth with me, but just getting a chance to pick his brain, and he picked my brain about different things, and which is crazy. Me being, you know, much older than him, 9 years older, I was picking his brain more about basketball than he was picking my brain. So that's just tell you how much he was light years above those people with the game of basketball.
All right, Steve Smith with us. We appreciate your time, Smitty. Tough day for the NBA and everybody who covers it, and everybody's been around it as well. Smitty, we'll talk to you soon, hopefully under better circumstances.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, B. Shaw.
All right, Smitty.
All right, Smitty.
Continuing our coverage here on NBA TV, Kobe Bryant, the future Hall of Famer in the class of 2020 will be, is dead at the age of 41 after a helicopter accident in California. We're hoping to get more details on that accident, the circumstances which may have led to it, such as they are or such as the details are at this point, in a little more than a half hour. Last I checked, the LA County Sheriff's Department was scheduled to hold a news conference at about 5 o'clock Eastern time, so 2 o'clock Pacific time, to answer questions and share the information that they have on this helicopter crash. If you're just with us, it was not unusual for Kobe to travel via helicopter, and that goes back to his NBA playing days. He's lived in Newport for, I don't know how long, as long back as I can remember with the Lakers, but it's been a while, and he would regularly travel on a helicopter to downtown LA on game days, go to shoot around, spend some time somewhere else nearby before coming to the games, presumably to take a nap, as so many NBA players did. So this was a regular mode of transportation for Kobe over the years.
Yeah, it was. You know, once they, the first, I think it was the first 2 championships or so, 2000, 2001, across the street from LA, it was just a big park from the Staples Center. It was a big parking lot. And that's actually where the parades culminated, afterwards, the championship celebrations. Now they have LA Live there with all the, there's a JW Marriott, a Ritz-Carlton, and a bunch of things there. And so I think he had a deal with the Ritz-Carlton. So when he would come in, for shoot around or whatever that day, that morning, if we had shoot around at Staples Center, then he can stay in one of the rooms across the street and just be there for the games. And then after the games, get transported back to where the helicopter pad was to take off back in Newport. But I mean, we used to just kind of shake our head at even that, that he was so large that, that he could do that. Because when you imagine the expense and everything that comes with being able to take a helicopter to the games, when the rest of us mere mortals were just driving and, and dealing with that traffic every day. I mean, he set a new standard, when it came to that. In listening to some of the stories and things that some of the people have talked about that we've spoken with, there's all these things that start to come to mind in terms of his mindset. It would take one little thing to motivate him to master a certain skill. And I remember he did something to his right shoulder, but he played through it. And for a series of about 10 games, he was just using his left hand.
He was shooting left-handed. I remember that. Yeah.
And still playing as effective and not wanting anyone to know that his right shoulder was hurt. But playing through all of that. He got enamored with Tim Duncan's bank shot that he used to do. So that he would study that and work on that and master that as well.
I want to interrupt for just a second. Sure. We've got Nick Watt from CNN is joining us from California, from Calabasas or nearby Calabasas, where the crash site was earlier today. And Nick, the details we have on this crash are relatively scarce, aside from the fact that Kobe Bryant and 4 other people were aboard and that it crashed near Calabasas this morning. What else do you know at this point?
Well, Matt, we are hoping to hear a lot more in about a half hour when the LA County holds a press conference. we should get some information. As you say, right now, the information is thin. We know that this helicopter crashed into that hillside above Calabasas, between Calabasas and Malibu, sometime this morning. Now, you can probably tell
It's
it is
still
not
smoking.
a clear,
Jesus.
blue, sunny day here in Southern California. A pilot
Oh.
I spoke with this morning said he did
Damn.
not fly today because of visibility concerns, but we do not have any official confirmation that visibility might have been an issue or what the cause of this crash was. As for where Kobe was going, well, I have spoken to the director of the Lady Mavericks, another girls basketball team, and they say that they were expecting Kobe and his daughter Gigi to play. Kobe was coaching. She was playing in a game at the Mamba Sports Academy in Thousand Oaks. That was supposed to start at noon, and Kobe was expected. We have not had any more confirmation than that as to where Kobe may have been heading. But, Matt, I've got to say, the sense around here is just disbelief in Los Angeles. A great man of the NBA, of the game of basketball, somebody who was known and loved throughout the world, but nowhere more so than here in Los Angeles. And not just for his playing prowess, for the involvement he had in youth sports, both boys and girls. This was a man who was loved around here. And Greg, if you can pan around, you can just see there is a crowd of people here just struck silent by the loss of Kobe Bryant at just 41 years old. You've got some people wearing Lakers jerseys, holding up Lakers caps. We've had people shedding tears. I've been told that Kobe Bryant is somebody for Los Angeles, for the game of basketball, who is irreplaceable. So really, Matt, you know, how this happened, I would say is secondary. The fact that it happened is what is hitting people here in Los Angeles now, that Kobe Bryant is gone. We should hear a little bit more about how, but that's just the fact. Kobe Bryant is no more, and Los Angeles, the country, the game, and many people around the world are in mourning.
And we'll find out more at the top of the hour when the LA County Sheriff's Department weighs in and answers questions. For our viewers, we get a sense of the topography behind you. It is a mountainous area there in Calabasas. Not to speculate what may have caused the crash or what factored in, but you mentioned the weather as well. Will it just be the LA County Sheriff's Department? Will we hear from the NTSB at that point?
I don't believe we're going to hear. I mean, the NTSB and the FAA will be investigating this. I doubt that we will hear from the FAA, certainly this early on. You know, all we've heard so far was about the immediate response. I mean, this helicopter crashed into that mountainside, sparked a brush fire. That had to be contained. That was the first issue. I don't know how much more information we're going to get at the half hour, at the top of the hour, I'm sorry, but we will bring that to you. As I say, no official indication as to what caused this. All I can say is that it is not a clear day here in Los Angeles, and another pilot I spoke to did not fly for that reason. But we have no official indication as to why this tragedy happened. If we get more details, Matt, we'll bring them to you.
All right, Nick, we appreciate it. Nick Watt from CNN with us from Calabasas, where Kobe Bryant was aboard a helicopter that crashed into the mountainous area there and passed away at the age of 41. This was a tweet from the tournament that Kobe and his daughter were apparently to play in, be a part of later today. This photo taken this morning at the Kobe Bryant tournament in Calabasas. The kids received the news. A youth team from Tenaya, is that how you say that, Brian? Tenaya was playing in the tournament when they received the news and canceled games. Heartbreaking sums it up, the hashtag there. You can only imagine the reaction from those kids. Nick Watt spoke of it, and I'm sure you're well aware as well of how much Kobe Bryant and his I guess not just team, but teams were involved in youth basketball in that area.
Yeah, you know, in Thousand Oaks, I think it's been almost 2 years now, taking over that, and it became the Mamba Sports Academy. Mm-hmm. And not only just basketball, but, you know, football, volleyball players went there and trained. Nike holds their Hoop Academy there for the top high school and college players every summer. And so it was a training facility that he became heavily involved in and ultimately ended up purchasing and taking over and wanting to instill that Mamba mentality in the people that came and trained.
Guys, I'm just checking. Is the audio and the video still
like I said,
still good here?
In all sports, not just basketball. And so
I don't want to have you guys sitting here listening or watching something that's just coming in grainy. Is everything all right?
That's so sad because we haven't seen very many athletes with the type of mentality that he had, and that was something that I know that he was focusing on. Starting with his daughter and her team, trying to understand the drive for greatness and the path that he took to get there, and then hand that down and pass that off to any that were interested in putting in the work in doing that, and in understanding that, at the end of the day, if you put in the work, it still may not work out the way that you want it to, but there's nothing for you to feel bad or hang your head about it. You have to, give it everything that you have. And, like I said, it just took little tiny things to motivate him. And then he would set his mind to that and then master that skill. And I know every season he would go away and try to just add one more thing to his game, or find something in that off season. I mean, I know he got into mountain biking. There was an off season where he did boxing, but just different challenges, for himself to compete in terms of keeping his conditioning, at peak level, and bringing back that mental edge that he needed to stay on top.
By the way, it pains me to say this as well. We've been withholding this information out of caution and out of respect for the family, but we can report now as well. Multiple sources are reporting that Kobe's daughter, Gianna, Gigi, was also aboard that helicopter, and she is also gone at the age of 13. They were headed to that basketball tournament we showed you just moments ago. The LA Clippers are in Orlando today, scheduled to play against the Magic. Doc Rivers, of course, coached against Kobe Bryant and the Lakers in the NBA Finals back in 2010. He offered these thoughts a short while ago.
I haven't. Listen. I don't know. I just don't have a lot to say. The news is just devastating to everybody who knew him, known him a long time. And, he means a lot to me, obviously. He was such a great opponent, it's what you want in sports. He had that DNA that very few athletes can ever have, the Tiger Woods and the Michael Jordans, it's funny. I was getting to know him more since he retired, this is a tough one. We have to go play. The news is just so devastating for Vanessa and his family, and there's just so many people he touched, and it's looking at my young players and seeing how emotional they are. They didn't even know him, and it just tells you how far his reach was. So, this is just shocking news for all of us. And sorry, I don't have a lot to say. I just can't. I have to go talk to a team before a game and tell them to play again.
What was your last interaction with Kobe like?
That was great. We were at a function 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we sat and talked for probably 45 minutes. We always like to reminisce. we would always laugh at our versions of our losses. You know, when we beat them in 2008, he had his version, and when they beat us in 2010, I had my version, and we would laugh at how different we looked at the games. You know, this is a great loss for the league, and I thought he had so much more left to do, you know, and he was starting to do it. Never seen him happier, you know. So I don't know.
Do you feel blessed that you were able to?
Yeah, I'm lucky that I was part. You know, I'm lucky that I, you know, got to coach and compete, you know, against him, and you know, and I feel for so many people. I mean, it's obviously his family. You know, I can't imagine. You know, Lou played with him. Ty Lue played with him. Cliff coached with him. Kawhi was very, very close with him, and so was Paul George. And he meant a lot of good for our league, and especially the competitive part of our league. So, you know, sometimes things don't make sense, you know, and there's times you should feel, you know, you just feel sad, you know, and this is one of them, and you know, you have to get through it. We all will. We all have to be strong. You know, we laughed and joked about the mama mentality, you know. We're all going to need it right now, you know, and there's nobody. I think everybody right now is a Laker fan. You know, we're all Lakers today. You feel for that community, for Jeannie and everyone else. I think people think because you compete against people sometimes that you don't have a relationship with them and you don't like it. It's probably the exact opposite. I think sometimes the more you compete, the more respect you have for the opponent. You know, I would say that's the way I felt with Kobe, and so that's all. I just don't have a lot to say. You know, just really sad. Thanks, guys.
There's not a lot to be said at a time like this, and the faces on players and fans say it all here in the early hours of the NBA schedule on this Sunday afternoon, disrupted by shocking news that Kobe Bryant has passed away at the age of 41. 2 games are in progress. Continue our coverage here on NBA TV after this.
All right, NBA TV is going to break. So here's what we're hearing so far. There will be an update from the LA County Sheriff's Department at the top of the hour. So in about 15 minutes, we'll get maybe some more news. I don't know that, you know, they had I'm blanking on the guy's name from CNN that had really, you know, not a whole lot more to add. Everything that's already out there is kind of what we know, and that is that it was a foggy day. It was him and his daughter, a teammate for his daughter's travel team, and another parent, and that's what went down. I don't think we've heard anything about the pilot. Yes, his daughter Gianna was on the flight with him. The banner I have up on the screen right now, the picture I have up on the screen right now is a picture of him with his daughter. So she was I think 13 years old, and she perished along with Kobe. Listen, as a father, this is tough to absorb, just aside from the fact that he was a basketball player. He was a father. He was a father to 4 daughters. He had a newborn just born in June, and he's not going to be there for them. They lose 2 members of the family. Vanessa, his wife, obviously is going to be going through a very difficult time with their other daughters. His newborn is never going to know. I mean, she'll grow up and she'll see video of her father, but she won't have known her father, and that's hard. Just from a family aspect, if you're a father out there, I know you get that. And if you're a child, know that the connection with your father, your mother, your parents is something that there is no other connection. So there's nothing like that. So there's that. We do have NBA TV coming back. Again, we got in about 13 minutes until we get an update from the LA County Sheriff. I'm going to go back to that audio here now. I think we got Kobe, we got LeBron talking about it.
I was in high school. I was growing up through the ranks when Kobe came into the league. He was, it wasn't a dream of mine to come straight, from high school at that point in time to the NBA. But I was like, wow, a 17-year-old, 18-year-old kid being able to make that leap, that's pretty damn cool. And as I started playing more ball and I went into high school, the things that he was doing on the floor, I, admired and wanted to be a part of. I went to ABCD camp, and he came and talked to all the kids that was there, and I happened to be one of the kids that was there, and I was just listening. I was just trying to soak everything up I could, And I remember one thing that he said. He was like, if you want to try to be, great at it, or want to be one of the greats, you got to put the work in. There's no substitution to work. And I was a 15-year-old kid at that camp. You can actually find the footage of him at that camp. And in 2001, I believe I was playing in New Jersey, and the All-Star game, if I'm not mistaken, and y'all could correct me, was in Philly, right? Yeah, that Saturday, me and Maverick drove to the Intercontinental downtown Philadelphia, and he gave me a pair of his shoes, which I ended up wearing that following night. It was the red, white, and blue Kobe's. I was a 15, and he was a 14, and I wore them anyways. And I sat and just talked to him for a little bit. He gave me the shoes. I rocked them in the game. And it was the same night that we played Oak Hill against Melo. And then I saw what he was able to do the very next night, winning MVP here in Philly. That following night. As I got drafted, I still just admired him, seeing what he was able to accomplish, winning championships, having, being early in his career where, he learned from the misses that he had against the series against Utah, and he just used that as motivation and got better and better and better to him winning multiple championships, and continued to admire him throughout my high school rank. And then as competitors, just seeing the work ethic that he put into the game. He had zero flaws offensively, zero. You backed off of him, he could shoot the three. You body him up a little bit, he can go around you. He can shoot the mid-range, he can post, he can make free throws. He had zero flaws offensively. And, that's something that I admired as well, just being at a point where the defense will always be at bay, where they couldn't guard you at all offensively, where you just felt like you was just immortal offensively because of your skill set and your work ethic. We take it down to 2008 where we become the Redeem team. And it was a dream come true for me to be able to line up alongside of him. Just admiring him for so many years, and seeing him from afar, and then being able to be in practices with him, and me watching and learning. So on. I mean, it's just too much. It's just too much. The story is just too much. It doesn't make sense. And just to make a long story short, now I'm here in the Lakers uniform in Philadelphia, where he's from, where one of the first time I ever met him, gave me his shoes. He won All-Star Week. It's surreal. It doesn't make no sense, but the universe just puts things in your life, and when you live in the right way, or you just giving everything to whatever you're doing, things happen organically, and it's not supposed to make sense, but it just happens. And I'm happy to be in any conversation with Kobe Bean Bryant, one of the all-time greatest basketball players that ever played, one of the all-time greatest Lakers. The man got 2 jerseys hanging up in Staples Center. It's just crazy.
Any irony for you as a pass-first player, for you said basically your whole life to now be third in scoring on your time?
Yeah, because I don't. I just don't. I've never seen myself as a scorer. I've seen myself as just a guy that's just a basketball player, and I've always wanted to have that triple threat mentality of being able to pass, being able to rebound, being able to score at times, and I've always loved the excitement that I gave my teammates by giving them the ball and seeing them score since I first ever started playing the game of basketball. That's always been like the greatest thing on the floor for me, and also being able to get back and make like changing plays defensively. So to be in this position as far as a scoring record or scoring list, that also doesn't make sense to me.
LeBron, you never played against Michael, so you could always chase his ghost and calm an idol. You played against Kobe for so long. Was there a point where you have to stop idolizing him so you can play against him and compete and win and all those kind of things?
No, but you also can keep the main thing. Once the game started, when we competed against each other, probably after the first time I played him, my rookie year, you keep the main thing, and you're trying to go out and win the game, and he's trying to destroy you because that's what Kobe's all about. He has zero friends out on the floor, but that doesn't mean that I'm still not admiring the guy that I'm playing against. I'm able to still prioritize and understand what's going on the floor. So, and I think I showed that when we competed against each other.
And then not getting a chance to play against him in the finals. At one time you said that was one of your very few regrets in your basketball career. Is that still?
All right, so we just got a tweet a few minutes ago from Shaq. I want to hop in here. This is audio from LeBron yesterday. Shaq, there's no words to express the pain I'm going through with this tragedy of losing my niece, Gigi, and my brother at Kobe Bryant. I love you, and you will be missed. My condolences goes out to the Bryant family and the families of the other passengers on board. I'm sick right now. That's from Shaq just a few minutes ago, and he posted some pictures along with Kobe Bryant. So we've got about 5 minutes until the LA County Sheriff Department is going to give us an update, or at least hold a press conference. I think they'll probably confirm a lot of what we already know. And, what we know is that Kobe was, along with his daughter and a teammate and another parent, were traveling via helicopter to one of Gianna's games when the helicopter went down. We don't know how it went down. We don't know why it went down. We know the conditions were foggy and he crashed into the hills. So there could have been a visibility issue. We do not know that. So we're going to just monitor that. We'll see what we got. I'm going to switch back over to the audio for this. Actually, do I see, what is ABC doing? ABC might have something. So if there's a press conference, we will check with ABC. Let's check that real quick. Let's see if ABC is doing something real quick. No. No. All right. Again, right now, NBA TV is replaying the interview with LeBron after LeBron passed Kobe for third in scoring. Obviously, that's old news and relevant news at this point. ABC is stuck with the Pro Bowl right now. So that's what they've got going on. Again, still nothing but the LeBron interview from Saturday. Let's get back over to the NBA feed again. We got about 4 minutes. NBA TV might just be playing this LeBron interview until that LA County Sheriff Department update. Now, these are one of those things where it's scheduled to be, at the top of the hour, 5 East, 2 West, and it ends up getting delayed. We'll whatever happens, I'm going to have the audio for you guys here, and we'll play that. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just watching NBA TV. I'll put the audio back up of LeBron talking on Saturday. Again, this is not LeBron talking now. We still haven't heard from him yet. We're watching that, but this is LeBron from Saturday.
Someone that you admired to be like on the floor and do the things, win championships, be young, and be remembered. You know, you don't have that much time to play this game, and you know, if you're able to be remembered, you know, for the great things that you did, the positive things that you did, you know, making people feel, you know, great about what you did, that's a pretty cool thing. So I wrote on my shoes tonight. I think I put Mamba for life, 824 KB, because it's really that mutual. So yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we're watching NBA TV. They are going to have the broadcast or the LA County Sheriff's Department when that goes up. The Rock on Instagram just put out a picture of Kobe and his daughter. Let me switch this back over. I think I can probably put that up for you guys. 1 second. Let me turn this. Let me hide that. So I don't know if you guys can see that. This is from The Rock, and he captioned it with "Love is forever." Let me get that out of the way. Sorry about that, guys. Again, from The Rock, "Love is forever." All right. I just want to put that on there. Let me get the NBA TV audio back up right now.
All-time leading scorer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who posted this video a short time ago.
It's very difficult for me to put in words how I feel about the loss of Kobe Bryant. As a young boy, I met him when he was 11 or 12 years old. I was friends with his dad, Joe. We were former adversaries. Joe played for the 76ers, but he was a good friend and someone that I shared a friendship. And it's hard for me to understand how this is affecting Joe and his wife. So to Kobe's family, I want to send my most sincere and heartfelt regrets and prayers, and my thoughts are with you guys. Kobe was an incredible family man. He loved his wife and daughters. He was an incredible athlete and a leader in a lot of ways. He inspired a whole generation of young athletes. He was one of the first ones to leave high school and come into the NBA and do so well, dominating the game and becoming one of the best scorers that the Los Angeles Lakers has ever seen. I had the privilege of being there when he scored his 81-point game, and it was something that I will always remember as one of the highlights of the things that I have learned and observed in sports. Kobe, my thoughts are with you. Absolutely. Rest in peace, young man. This loss it's just hard to comprehend. Go with God.
The great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar weighing in on the death of Kobe Bryant, who passed this morning in the Los Angeles area near Calabasas, along with his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, and 3 other people aboard a helicopter which crashed in a mountainous area north of Los Angeles. It's all secondary to the emotions and to the grieving and to what everybody is going through around the league and really around the world today. But the Lakers are a contending team. They've got to go back to basketball here shortly and try to get back to winning that franchise what they expect to win, which is a championship.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough because, he was such an iconic player, but just personality, in terms of just the game of basketball, but Lakers, as a whole. We just got finished watching LeBron, last night talk about, what Kobe has meant to him, when he passed him in the all-time scorers list to move into third. And, obviously the focus is going to be right there in LA, and for them to have to continue to play after losing such a big part of that organization, it's going to be heavy on them. But hopefully they can kind of adopt the mentality that Kobe has and that he would have and what he would want them to do in this situation, which is, press forward and be the best that they can be. A big part of my sadness comes from you always want to be able to, you think about, I wanted to be able to grow old and be able to sit around with my teammates when we're in our, 70s, 80s and talk about, what we accomplished when we played together and if our team would have beat this other great team that won championships and what have you. And it's sad when a brother, a piece of that is gone. And so it, like I said, it puts everything into perspective and it makes you just want to, I want to go home and hug my kids, let them know how much I love them, that time is precious, nothing is promised, and just, like I said, live life and make memories and spend time with one another. And, I know that that's something that Kobe was able to do. And so his kids and his family, his parents will be able to pull from that going forward. Obviously, it's a tough time right now, but that's something that they'll be able to draw from to go forward.
It's always good advice, and we all hate that sometimes it takes something like this to remind us of the importance of what's really important. Just to let you know, when it happens, we will bring you the LA County Sheriff's Department's news conference live and get the information that the professionals on the scene there have on this helicopter crash, which claimed the lives of 5 people, including Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. It was scheduled for 2 o'clock Pacific time, which is just passed, but these things are rarely exactly on time. As you can see, they are preparing. The microphones are set up. Technically, it looks like they are ready to go. And as soon as someone gets to that podium and begins answering questions and offering details, we'll pass that along. Stan, there's no blueprint for how to move forward as an organization with something like this. You've been a coach, you've been an executive. How would you go about this if you're in Rob Pelinka's shoes or if you're in Frank Vogel's shoes? They've got a game on Tuesday.
Yeah, look, I mean, first of all, there's the understanding, there has to be the understanding that there's things a lot more important in life than the next game. And as Brian knows better than most of us through what he's been through in his life, it's unfortunate and it's maybe cliche in the worst way, but life does go on and you have to go on and go through these times, and how people find the strength to do it is going to be different for every person. And I think that if you're in Frank Vogel's shoes, what you just have to give people as much space and as much time as they need and understand things are going to be rough. And there's no magic words. I mean, Brian knows this. There's nothing you can say to someone who's grieving to take away the pain. The best you can do, I think, is to let them know that your thoughts are with them and you try to understand as best you can, which is even hard to do if you're not somebody who's been in these situations before. So Frank's going to learn right along with his players on how you go about this. But yeah, there's no magic formula. Look, that whole organization is suffering even more than most people around the league. I mean, clearly, as Brian knows, I mean, Kobe Bryant had a really close relationship with Jeannie Buss. Mm-hmm. I'm sure she's suffering greatly. Rob Pelinka, I mean, was his agent.
Right.
I mean, so they were very, very close. So, it's felt everywhere in the NBA. But as Doc Rivers said, I thought, great comment today, we're all Lakers. And that organization's really suffering. Their fans are really suffering, even more so than the rest of us.
Meantime, there are games happening. There are 2 in progress right now. The next one scheduled to tip is here in Atlanta, downtown, where the Hawks will take on the Washington Wizards. And this was a photo Trae Young posted a short while ago to his Twitter account, all the lessons, all the advice, every word you ever told me will stick with me forever. Thank you, Kobe. And this was a video of Trae Young leaving the floor a few moments ago and getting a hug on his way out. Can't overemphasize what a difficult day this is for so many young NBA players who worshiped Kobe when he was at his peak, and they were old enough to be falling in love with the game of basketball and to understand the greats and what Kobe meant to the game. And certainly Trae Young falls into that category. And you can see the emotion there, and we've seen it already. If you are just with us, earlier today, the Raptors and Spurs honored Kobe Bryant by taking 24-second violations on their first possessions of that game in San Antonio, 24 being the second number that Kobe wore in the NBA for roughly the second half of his career. And I'm sure we'll see more extraordinary displays like these, be they emotions or organized efforts to honor Kobe Bryant, not only the rest of today, but in the days and weeks to come. And I can only imagine what All-Star Weekend will have in store. This is one of the Pelicans getting ready for their 6 o'clock game against the Boston Celtics. And you can see RIP, rest in peace, Kobe, on, I don't know whose shoe that is, but that's one of the Pelican shoes as they get set to take on Boston. Oh, everybody has those, it turns out. And again, you'll see a lot more of that in the coming days and weeks. And I'm sure the NBA is already carving out time to honor Kobe Bryant at All-Star Weekend coming up in a few weeks in Chicago as well. We are waiting to bring you a news conference from Calabasas, California, where the LA County Sheriff's Department is scheduled to appear and answer questions about this helicopter crash and offer whatever details they have. They're still relatively early in this investigation. The crash happened just a few hours ago in a mountainous area just outside of Calabasas on an overcast day. We had CNN reporter Nick Watt with us earlier, and he reported that another helicopter pilot had told him he would not be flying today because of the conditions. At this point, it is way too early to speculate about what caused this crash, but that is the situation on the ground there. And as soon as the Sheriff's Department begins its news conference, we'll bring it to you live here on NBA TV. In the meantime, we have shared all kinds of remembrances and just the general shock and dismay and coming to terms with what seemed like an impossible story when we first started to see it on Twitter and social media and everywhere else. When TMZ first reported this story earlier today, it's just hard to understand somebody in the prime of life and in endeavoring to make his mark on so many different areas of business and the arts and basketball as well. This is outside Lower Merion High School, where Kobe Bryant played high school basketball in Pennsylvania. You see flowers, looks like a high school jersey. I think that's a high school jersey rather than an all-star jersey for Kobe Bryant, people paying their respects there as well. And you can only imagine how many other places that memorials will be popping up where Kobe left his mark. Jason Kidd, now an assistant coach with the LA Lakers, tweeted, "You'll be missed, brother. My thoughts are with the Bryant family at this difficult time. Rest in peace, Kobe." Scottie Pippen, contemporary for part of Kobe Bryant's career. I'm stunned. Words can't come close to describing it. Just an incredibly sad and tragic day. Obviously true. Kristaps Porzingis, my favorite player growing up. This is just what we were talking about. So many young players. For so many young players, Kobe Bryant was their Michael Jordan when he was playing in the early part of this century. Ja Morant, with me tonight. It's just a lot of outpouring of admiration and just stunned disbelief at this point, because he was just 41 years old, not even old enough yet to be enshrined into the Hall of Fame. That'll happen later on this summer, because he hadn't reached the point at which he could be nominated. You have to be out of the league a certain number of years, and Kobe Bryant had just reached that threshold. He'll be officially nominated. I assume they'll stay with this All-Star Weekend on Friday night. They'll announce the nominees for the class of 2020. Then typically during Final Four weekend, they announce the class of 2020 of which he will certainly be a member. Well, I don't know. It's hard to come up with new things to say about this horrible tragedy. We're just awaiting to hear details on this helicopter crash, and frankly, I don't know what we'll find out. It's very early in the investigation. It's hard to say what they will know at this point, but they'll give details of time. 5 people crashed today, including Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna at just the age of 13. And as tragic as Kobe's death is, I think it's more heart-wrenching even that Gianna's dead at that young age. Kobe lived 10 lifetimes in his 41 years. As awful as it is that he is gone, she was just getting started.
Yeah, and it was, we heard LeBron talking just last night, to have, first of all, Kobe in the news, but LeBron was talking about this, how great it was to see Gigi with him at games, and now she's gone as well. It's pretty sad to look at that picture right now. And again, that's sad for me to look at that picture. And I didn't know the guy. For people like Brian, who played with him, coached him, were friends with him, and then his family, of course, I can't even imagine the grief right now.
Yeah, it's when it hits, you don't want to believe it. He was a father, he was a brother, he was a son. He was a friend, he was a teammate, and even his opponents and foes. I mean, you had to love this guy because he pushed you to a level that no one else could push you to. And in the early 80s when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird, actually, even before that, when they were in college, when their rivalry started, they needed each other to kind of validate their greatness in their competition against one another. And Kobe will be measured the same way against, his players that came before him and the players that played during his time and after him, as well as a measuring stick, and as something to shoot for. And as much of a superhero as he was to all of us, it's so hard to believe that he's not here anymore. And then, the fact that his daughter was with him, and as you stated, just starting her life out, and doing something that she loved to do, and they share that same passion, and for them to go together. You can't imagine what it's like for Vanessa and even the other sisters, at such a young age, to have to be able to explain to them, what's going on and deal with all the stuff, the baggage that comes with that, and that's very difficult. So, our hearts go out to Vanessa, to Joe, Kobe's mom, sisters, everybody that share in this great loss that we just witnessed.
And it's one of those times when you can look at a family, and no matter how privileged they are, no matter how good they have it, no one is immune from tragedies like this one. The National Basketball Players Association issued a statement regarding Kobe Bryant's passing within the last year, or hour, I should say, excuse me. If we have it put on the screen, if not, I'll just read it. We are stunned and devastated by the news of the sudden passing of Kobe Bryant. Words cannot express his impact on our players, the NBA, and the game of basketball. This is a monumental loss for the entire basketball community, and our hearts are quite simply broken. We send love and prayers out to his wife, Vanessa, and the entire family. Again, can't overstate the impact that this will have around the league and on the players who are still around who played against Kobe Bryant, and there are plenty of those, and a whole different generation of players who grew up watching Kobe Bryant and idolizing him and emulating him as a player as well, stealing moves as players do over generations.
Right, and I think, you and Brian both hit on it earlier, but his impact globally, having grown up there and then freely expressing his admiration of European players who, if we go back 25 years or so, Brian, those guys were not thought of as highly, and Kobe was a guy who freely talked about how good the players were there. He had grown up there. He went back there all the time overseas to play and things. And so one of the things we've seen through the various tweets and tributes throughout the day is a lot of the European players talking about what he meant to them. And in this case, he may have been the most influential player above anyone else, including Michael Jordan or anyone else, in terms of what he meant to the game overseas.
For sure.
This is a video or a photograph of DeMar DeRozan, who's playing today. The Spurs are at home, and this is DeMar DeRozan, an LA guy who has talked about how much influence Kobe had on him as a young man growing up in the Los Angeles area, like so many young NBA players, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, the list goes on and on, who would be of about that age where Kobe was at his peak when they were teenagers, roughly. Yeah. And DeMar DeRozan falls into that category as well. And you can see him, what appears to be, just trying to keep it together emotionally during a basketball game that the Spurs are playing. If you weren't with us earlier, the Spurs and Raptors began that game by taking 24-second violations for their first possessions of the game, respectively, to honor Kobe Bryant, who, of course, finished his career wearing number 24. This is at the Pro Bowl today. The NFC defense apparently honoring Kobe Bryant at the Pro Bowl as well. That's happening in Orlando this afternoon. So news has gotten around not just the basketball world, but the sports world and the world at large. There are places where people are waking up on other parts of the world to news of Kobe Bryant's passing. There's Jamal Adams putting up at the 2 and the 4 for Kobe Bryant's jersey number. A lot of fans, it's not just basketball. It's a good point. It's not just basketball that Kobe impacted, and there are, millions of fans all around the world who, some of whom played other sports and got involved in other activities, but admired.
All right, so we are still waiting for this press conference. It's taken a little bit longer. NBA is doing a good job. NBA TV is doing a good job of vamping, if you will. I have come across a couple of interviews, and I want to try to play those interviews for you guys. This one is from the Rich Eisen show, and he sat down with Kobe Bryant and had an interview with him about a potential reunion to play with LeBron. It's about 2 minutes long. I'm going to play some of these interviews that I'm coming across of Kobe talking about this one coming back and playing with LeBron.
When I spoke to Jeannie, she said that she would have you do anything you'd like for the Lakers franchise. Has she communicated that to you?
Yeah.
Okay, she has.
Yeah.
Even a rumor that you might consider even maybe coming out of retirement to play one more time for the Lakers.
Right.
I see you're laughing.
Yeah.
There's nothing to that, right?
There's about a 0% chance that I come back and play.
So not even like a...
Nothing.
Zero. You're toast. You're finished.
Done.
As a player.
That's it.
Did last year at any point with you going through your first season not playing basketball?
Never.
Not once did you think about it?
Never. Here's the thing, is for us athletes, it's really hard to transition from that, right? And I was really personal about it when I wrote Dear Basketball. But that is the true challenge of finding what comes next and finding something that you love to do every bit as much as you love your first passion. That is a challenge for us. And I think, unfortunately for us athletes, we've been pigeonholed into thinking that we can only be one thing. And so when I retired, everybody is saying, okay, he's too competitive. He's not going to know what to do with himself. He's going to have to come back. I took that as a personal challenge of them thinking I'm this one-dimensional person, that all I know is how to dribble the ball, shoot the ball, and play basketball and compete at that level. And so I took that as a personal challenge. I will never come back to the game, ever. I'm here to show people that we can do much more than that. And creating this business, winning an Oscar, winning the Emmy and the Annie, those are things that are showing other athletes that come after, no, there's more to this thing, right? So I would never, it's not even a thought.
So the goal was an EGOT? You want the Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar,
no,
the Tony?
The challenge became, how do I take the lessons that I learned through the game of basketball and translate them into building the studio, right? What are the things that I can take from that? The discipline, the commitment, the team and community. How do you get the best out of each other? How do I take those lessons and move those here? That is the challenge. How do we do great work, uncompromising great work? You're not looking at the bottom line. You're focused on the product first, Right? Is this the best thing that we can possibly make, no matter what? And having that sharp focus.
All right, so that was Kobe with Rich Eisen. It looks like they're getting closer to this press conference, so I'm going to put the audio back up from NBA TV. There's now a crowd. Again, the video is not working. I apologize. The video is not working, but we are getting the audio. And just to set the scene, there is a crowd that has now gathered around the podium. The podium is now covered in mics. There's cameras everywhere. There's people coming through the door. I don't know if it's going to happen any moment, but we are definitely getting closer to the press conference. So I'm going to put the audio from NBA TV back up. I do have another interview that I wanted to play of him. I tell you what, let's do that while we're still waiting. It still looks like we're another minute or two away. So this is from Jacob Ammerman, and he is a video coordinator, UCF men's hoops, and he has a video of Kobe. He sets it up saying, I've watched Kobe in a lot of interviews. There's always great insights of work ethic and mindset. The thing that always stuck with me was how much he would talk about his daughters and the importance of being a dad. So I want to play that real quick again while we're waiting for this press conference. So this is Kobe talking about being a dad.
For them to have role models, right? And I think in the day and age that we live now, you see that a lot in content and entertainment. You see very strong, independent women in film, and our daughters will grow up understanding that they can be strong, they can be independent, they can be fierce, right? Because they don't know the other way. They see it, and it just becomes a part of them. It's like, okay, no, it's okay to be that, right? And as a parent, that's what you want, because they don't listen to me. They don't. I mean, I'll sit there and I'll be like, hey, Mija, it's okay to have dreams. It's okay to go for it and all sort of stuff. And they're like, yeah, Dad, yeah, that's cool. Right? And then I'll take them to a Beyonce concert and we'll go in the back. I say, B, that was an amazing performance. Like, you killed it. She goes, well, yeah, I learned it from you. And I just look at my kids like, dude, she can listen, but you won't listen to me. The curse of being a parent. My kids they're funny, man. I did something for Taylor Swift at Staples Center, and for a tour, she kept bringing out special guests, right, every night. And so we're there, and Taylor and I were sitting there talking and stuff. My kids are there, and my kids go, so who's the special guest tonight? And Taylor's like, it's your dad. And they go, yeah, but who else? They go, no, like, your dad's a big deal. It's Staples Center, like, it's just your dad. They go, oh man, got gypped. Yep. That's what goes down in the Bryant household, man.
The man loved being a father. I think that is evident with everything that we're seeing here. All right, the NBA has put out a statement. David Stern did put out a statement regarding the passing of Kobe Bryant. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Okay, let me back that up. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver issued the following statement today. The NBA family is devastated by the tragic passing of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gianna. For 20 seasons, Kobe showed us what is possible when remarkable talent blends with an absolute devotion to winning. He was one of the most extraordinary players in the history of our game, with accomplishments that are legendary. 5 NBA championships, an NBA MVP, 18 All-Star selections, and 2 Olympic gold medals. But he will be remembered most for inspiring people around the world to pick up a basketball and compete to the very best of their ability. He was generous with the wisdom he acquired and saw it as his mission to share it with future generations of players, taking special delight in passing down his love of the game to Gianna. We send our heartfelt condolences to his wife, Vanessa, and their family, the Lakers organization, and the entire sports world. That is from Adam Silver. in the NBA. All right, I'm going to go back to the NBA TV audio as we still await the LA County Sheriff Department. But let's hop back over to the NBA TV audio.
And he's watched me from afar as a head coach and as an assistant. He said it to me in Philly. He said it to me in LA. And it's who Kobe is and what I know of Kobe. What I respect the most, I grew up on the West Coast. I'm a Laker fan as a child, and have had to denounce being a Laker fan once you get into the profession. But I've always respected his greatness because of his detail and his passion and the intensity of which he plays. But there's nothing more than the respect I have for him as a father. Every image you see of him post-retirement is with his daughters and with his family. Everything you see online, on Twitter, is about positivity. He's encouraging others, retweeting positive comments to others. And I think it's been the biggest transformation of a competitor to a human being that I've ever seen. And that's the sad part about today, is he was someone that everyone looks up to, especially this generation of players. And to see the way he was coming out of retirement and playing to being just a leader of people, WNBA, AAU programs, children's books. We lost a leader. And, it's hard. Our locker room is shaking, the NBA is shaking, the community is shaking, everyone is. Because at the end of the day, you respect what he's been able to accomplish for so many years in so many different ways.
But I had a lot of great memories as my daughter and went to the same school as his kids went to. So I didn't live too far from him. I spent
This is Scott Brooks, the head coach of the Wizards.
Time with him in the off season from time to time. He's just, words can't describe, and it doesn't do any justice of who he is and how he impacted the sports world. It's just not basketball. The guy had a mentality that you want your team to play with, and the toughness, the determination. There's no injury. Even when he tore his Achilles, he got up there and shot a couple of free throws and wanted the trainer to put it back together so he can finish up the game. Not many guys, if any, played the game better.
Magic Johnson, who's called Kobe Bryant the greatest Laker ever, has tweeted several. He's still tweeting, in fact. As I try to write this post, my mind is racing. I'm in disbelief and have been crying all morning over this devastating news that Kobe and his young daughter Gigi have passed away in a helicopter crash. Cookie and I are heartbroken. I love him, his family, and what he stood for on the court and off the court. My friend, a legend, husband, father, son, brother, Oscar winner, and greatest Laker of all time is gone. It's hard to accept. Kobe was a leader of our game, a mentor to both male and female players. Yeah. It's all over the league. And Kobe again referenced him as the greatest Laker of all time. Certainly, we get less of an argument about that today, certainly, but he's on the list in one of the great all-time organizations. These were scenes from Denver earlier today as players and coaches came to terms with the news of Bryant's passing as they tried to prepare to play a game today, which is in progress now in the fourth quarter, and Denver leads at 94-93 with just under 10 minutes to go in that game. DeMar DeRozan, an LA man, LA kid when Kobe was in his prime, obviously trying to make sense of what has happened. Tim Duncan, who had so many great battles with your Lakers, Brian, in the playoffs. Becky Hammond, Greg Popovich. Just a tough day all around. Still waiting to bring you the LA County Sheriff's Department news conference, which was scheduled for about a half hour ago in Calabasas. As you look at Sean Elliott trying to keep it together and do his job as well. Jaron Jackson Jr. Devin Booker. See a lot of sad faces out there, and understandably so. Just I can't even imagine. I don't know. You hear from every player is different. Every person is different. Some of them will probably tell you that it helps to play the game. Maybe some of them will feel like they're honoring Kobe by playing the game today. But knowing what he has meant to the league, it's got to be awfully difficult to just concentrate on the game. Derek Fisher, struggling to process what is now reality. Kobe's life after basketball was just beginning, and his second act was going to be even greater. His legacy, Gigi's legacy, both will live on forever. What, for you, the dynamic with those three-peat teams, Kobe and Shaq obviously bumped heads. That's been well documented. They've talked about it as well. Where did their dynamic settle, and where did the rest of you settle in terms of the personalities and how you would interact as ultimately championship teams?
I think we grew to understand, especially how Phil Jackson dealt with them. We just kind of took his lead on that, but just to respect his greatness. We can get back to it.
Yeah, let's take you out to Calabasas, California, where earlier today, Kobe Bryant and his daughter, Gianna, passed away in a helicopter crash that took the lives of 5 people in the mountainous area just outside of Calabasas, north of Los Angeles. We're going to hear from the LA County Sheriff's Department, and specifically Sheriff Alex Villanueva, and we can keep talking until we see somebody step up to that microphone. But obviously it's about to get started here, and we'll bring you that in its entirety. We have no sense of what kind of details they can offer at this point. It's very early in the investigation, and if the FAA or the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, are there, obviously they're probably not in a position to release any sort of findings or details. But it was an overcast day in LA, and earlier CNN
All right, they're getting started.
Told us a pilot told him he was unwilling to go out in those conditions. Let's listen in.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Espinosa, Executive Director of Communications for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. We thank you so much for being here with us today. In the order of speakers that we will have today will be LA County Fire Chief Daryl Osby, and then we will have LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva come to the podium. Thank you.
Let's go live with Chief Daryl Osby of the County Fire Department. Good afternoon. My name is Daryl Osby, and I'm the Fire Chief of the Los Angeles County Fire Department. I want to thank you for coming here to today's briefing of the Willow incident. Today, shortly before 10 o'clock at 9:47 a.m., the Los Angeles County Fire Department received a 911 call of a potential helicopter down in a brush fire at the intersection of Los Virgenes Road and Willow Glen Street in the city of Calabasas in unincorporated Los Angeles County. Upon arrival, our firefighters discovered approximately a quarter-acre brush fire that resulted from a crash on the hillside. The Los Angeles County Fire Department initial response was 15 pieces of apparatus and 56 personnel that consisted of paramedics, engine company, heavy rescue, truck company, hand crews, and aircraft, and a chief officer to oversee the incident. Upon arrival during the incident and upon arrival of the Sheriff's Department, our two respective departments entered into unified command to handle this incident. Our firefighters on scene indicated that there was a debris field and steep terrain with a quarter-acre brush fire that was occurring at the time. Our firefighters hiked in to the accident site with their medical equipment and hose lines to extinguish the stubborn fire, as it included the brush fire, debris from a helicopter, and the fire also included magnesium, which is very hard for our firefighters to extinguish because magnesium reacts with oxygen and water. In addition to our firefighters hiking into the incident, we had one helicopter flying to the incident with firefighter paramedics on board. Those paramedics were hoisted down to the incident early into the incident. They did a search of the area for survivors. Unfortunately, all the survivors on board were determined to have been perished. Firefighters and hand crews worked to extinguish the fire while carefully preserving the incident for investigation. Currently, the investigation is still ongoing. I would like to turn this over to my sheriff to continue the press briefing.
Thank you, Chief Osby. Personnel from Los Hills Sheriff's Station responded to the scene of the crash site and assisted the fire department, and we've established a containment area, and now our Aero Bureau has a handle on traffic or aircraft accidents. However, when there's a fatality, then it switches to the National Transportation Safety Bureau, the NTSB, and the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA. The FAA is already on scene and assisting. We're waiting the arrival of the coroner's office to assist in the recovery of the remains. As the chief indicated, there were no survivors. We have a manifest that indicates that there was 9 people on board the aircraft, the pilot plus 8 individuals.
Ooh.
There is wide speculation of who the identities are. However, it would be entirely inappropriate right now to identify anyone by name until the coroner has made the identification through their very deliberative process, and they've made notifications to next of kin. And it'd be extremely disrespectful to understand that your loved one was perished and you learn about it from TMZ. That is just wholly inappropriate. So we're not going to be going there. We're going to wait till the coroner does their job, and we're assisting the families of those who believe they've been impacted. And it's a tough process. And our hope goes out to all of the members that were on board, all the family of everyone who was on board this aircraft, and God bless their souls. So at this point in time, we have nothing that we can add until the coroner does their job, and we'll be making those notifications when we have the information and we know the next of kin have been notified. Then we can release the information publicly, and you'll be notified in subsequent announcements.
Sheriff, there is one thing you can confirm. Do we have a confirmation actually of 9 bodies there at the scene?
That is our belief, yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So we realize at this point there are so many questions. There's a lot of information out there, and again, we understand. There's a lot of information that's floating, but we certainly have a responsibility and an obligation, out of respect, of course, for the families. And this is a very difficult time for us all, for the city. We have the mayor here of Calabasas, also city council. We thank them for being here. And in fact, they wanted to pass on a message that for those in the community that want to gather here and are coming to Calabasas, if you do, you are welcome to join others at the Deanza Park here in Calabasas, and the cross streets there are Los Hills and Las Virgenes. Also, the Sheriff's Information Bureau will be sending out updates as to when there will be, if there is one, a press advisory out, a notification of another press conference or any other updates through our Twitter. So please look for that. And again, we thank you so much for being here today. And again, thank you for your time.
Elizabeth,
Sheriff, we have more.
Sheriff.
All right. The big news from that conference is that it was 9 lives were lost and not 5, which is what we had heard all afternoon, is that we lost 5 souls, and apparently that number is actually 9 according to the LA County Sheriff there. Now, we don't know if was that 9 on the it didn't seem like it was very clear if that was 9 on the in the aircraft, in the helicopter, or if there were some maybe some people on the hills, some hikers or bikers that maybe were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But that is what we got. We got 9, and again, we know 4 really, and 2 of them we don't really know. We know that we have Kobe, his daughter, and then we had a teammate of his daughter and the parent for that child. So we know those 4. We don't know we don't know the others. There were a lot of people saying Rick Fox, and I saw it was a verified Twitter account that made a comment about how Rick Fox had been tweeting with that person, and that there is no truth to Rick Fox being on the helicopter. And we really don't want to speculate as to who it may have been, but we know that, and I mentioned it earlier, when you have a situation like this, even if we do or don't know the other individuals on that on the helicopter, that listen, these are people who were important in their own communities, and the community can be as simple as just their household. You know, they were somebody's father, somebody's mother, brother, sister, loved one, and each one of those souls that has been lost, it wasn't a very important person to many people. So this is a terrible incident, and Kobe Bryant is attached to it, so it gets all the story, gets all the news, and rightfully so. Devastating news, though. Kobe, his daughter, was just 13 years old, and so much life obviously in front of both of them, and now that just gets cut short, and that's just tough to swallow. Anybody that's watching this that has children, I think I used to travel for work, and every time I got on an airplane flown by a pilot who had flown millions of miles in the air, I always, when I left my children, would always think about them, about it being the last time. I don't know, it just kind of goes through a parent's mind. And so any parents out there, I'm sure, can relate to this on that level as well. This is sort of something that impacts everybody, even if you're not a Laker fan, even if you're just a person. If you're a child and you've got your mother and your father, know that your mother and your father love you more than anything else. So this is very hard for the Bryant family and for the 7 other souls that were on the flight. It looks like the manifest of the helicopter crash indicated 9 souls were on board. We wait and see. We wait and see who those 9 people were. We know it's not LeBron. Anybody that might be out there wondering if LeBron was on the helicopter, not him. There's video of him getting off the team plane on Twitter, emotional, and sharing an embrace with what looks like maybe a coach after they get off the team plane. And we know it's not Rick Fox, because Rick Fox was tweeting, or not tweeting, but texting with a prominent individual and saying, tell people to stop. It's not, I wasn't on the helicopter. So, this is where we are right now. This is the news that we have. We have 9 now. That's the big news that came from the story. Came from the press conference from the LA County Sheriff's Department. We had to wait an extra 45 minutes for that. They were supposed to go on at 5 East, 2 West, and it was delayed by about half an hour. And that thing that nobody really expected much news to come from it. We've heard a lot, and these investigations take time. They want to be, as you heard in the press conference, they want to be careful with the information that they put out there. They don't want to, have it go out of the media before they have a chance to alert other family members and other loved ones. So obviously they wait on releasing those names, and until those next of kin are, until the next of kin are notified, they're gonna sit on the names. And that's obviously what they should be doing. So that is, so we just kind of wait now, and grieve, and reminisce. I've sort of watched the Twitter cycle go from initial reaction, everybody being shocked, to where now we're seeing a lot of tributes already starting to happen. A lot of media outlets that interviewed Kobe are posting past interviews where he's talking about projects he was working on, talking about his family, talking about his children, and how much he enjoyed his time with them. So the press conference is done. They announced that the next, any future updates will happen on their Twitter account. So you'll have to do that. There's not another press conference that is scheduled. I'm going to wrap this up now. I appreciate you guys hopping back on and hanging through with this and getting some information and hearing the press conference through here. Appreciate that. If there is anything new that breaks or happens, I'll be back on here. We'll talk about it some more together, but I'll wrap this up now and talk again soon if needed. Just go out there and hug your mom, hug your dad, hug your kids, and just be thankful to be here. All right, guys, talk soon.